I showed up at my dad's retirement party. His coworker pulled me aside and said, "I'm so sorry about the investigation." My dad worked at the same accounting firm for 32 years. He started as a junior analyst fresh out of college and worked his way up to senior partner. Growing up, he was my hero. He taught me how to throw a football, helped me with calculus, stood as my best man at my wedding. Everyone in our family looked up to him. He was the guy who did everything right, paid his taxes early, never missed a bill, donated to charity every Christmas. When the firm announced his retirement party, I drove 4 hours to be there. I wanted to surprise him. I walked into the conference room they'd rented at a downtown hotel, balloons everywhere, a big banner that said "Happy Retirement Frank," and a crowd of maybe 60 people. I scanned the room for my dad and spotted him near the bar, smiling, shaking hands. He looked happy, relaxed. Then a woman I didn't recognize appeared at my elbow. She was maybe 50, glasses, holding a glass of wine. "You must be the son," she said. I smiled and said, "Yes, I'm Nathan." She nodded slowly, then leaned closer. "I'm so sorry about the investigation. It must be hard on your family." I stared at her. "The investigation?" She blinked, suddenly uncertain. "You know about it, right? The forensic audit?" I shook my head. "I have no idea what you're talking about." Her face went pale. She took a step back. "Oh God, I thought you knew. I thought that's why you were here." I grabbed her arm, probably too hard. "What investigation? What audit?" She looked around nervously, then pulled me toward a quiet corner near the emergency exit. "The firm hired outside auditors 6 months ago," she whispered. "Discrepancies in client accounts. Money missing. A lot of money." My stomach dropped. "What does this have to do with my dad?" She stared at me with something that looked like pity. "Honey," she said, "it has everything to do with your dad. The discrepancies trace back to accounts he managed, exposed 3 weeks ago. The only reason he's retiring is because they gave him a choice. Retire quietly or face prosecution." I felt like the floor was tilting. "That doesn't make sense. My dad would never steal anything." She just looked at me. "I've worked with him for 15 years, she said. I didn't believe it either. Then I saw the evidence. I walked back into the party in a daze. Everyone was laughing, eating cake, giving speeches about what a great man my father was. I watched him accept a gold watch from the CEO, watched him tear up during a toast about his legacy. I felt like I was watching a stranger. My mom was there too, standing beside him, beaming, holding his hand. Did she know? Had she been lying to me too? I couldn't breathe. I stepped outside into the hallway, leaning against the wall, trying to process. That's when I saw the 2 men in suits walking toward the conference room. They had badges clipped to their belts, federal agents. They nodded at me as they passed, then pushed open the conference room doors. I followed them back inside. The room went quiet as they approached my father. "Mr. Wallace," one of them said, "we need you to come with us." My father's face didn't change. He didn't look surprised, didn't look scared. He just set down his glass of champagne and said, "I thought I had until Monday." The agent shook his head. "Plans changed." My mother grabbed his arm. "Frank, what's happening?" He finally looked at her, and his expression cracked just slightly. "I'm sorry," he said. "I was going to tell you after the party." They walked him out past 60 of his colleagues, past the retirement banner, past me. He stopped when he saw me standing by the door, his eyes filled with tears. "Nathan," he said, "I can explain." "How long?" I asked. My voice sounded like someone else's. He swallowed. 12 years. 12 years. I was 16 when it started. He'd been stealing money since I was in high school, through my college graduation, my wedding, the birth of my son. Every milestone of my adult life had been funded by money he took from other people. The agents led him toward the elevator. My mother was crying, asking questions nobody would answer. The coworkers who'd been toasting him 5 minutes ago wouldn't even look in his direction. The woman who'd told me, the one with the glasses, walked over and stood beside me. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. I watched the elevator doors close with my father inside, his gold retirement watch still on his wrist. The banner behind me said "Happy Retirement" in big blue letters. Someone had already started taking down the balloons. I drove home that night in silence. 4 hours alone with my thoughts, trying to reconcile the father I knew with the man who'd been stealing for over a decade. My wife was waiting up when I got home. She took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. I told her everything. She held me while I sat there staring at nothing, then asked what I wanted to do. I didn't have an answer. The next morning I got a call from my mother. She was at a hotel. She'd left the house and didn't know if she was going back. She asked if my dad had ever borrowed money from me. I thought about the $20,000 he'd given us for our house down payment, money I'd been so grateful for at the time. I realized I might have to give it back. It probably wasn't his to give. My son wandered into the kitchen while I was on the phone, 4 years old, asking where Grandpa was because he'd promised to take him fishing next month. I told him Grandpa was busy. He'd learn the truth eventually, but not today, not from me. He pleaded guilty 8 months later and was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. I haven't visited him once.